Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So in today's story time, I'm going to share with you guys my experience of being bullied in school. Now I wanted to start off by saying that the form of bullying that I experienced was not the most extreme, and I know others have had to deal with worse, but as I said, this is my story time, so this is just my experience that I had to deal with. So I guess I want to start off by saying that, my classmates, we all grew up in the same neighborhood, so we were always together. We were really close, and for the most part, I fit in really well with my classmates, and I was actually, a pretty popular kid. And it wasn't until like the 4th grade that I started to notice that things started to change a little bit. So like in the 4th grade, we no longer had cooties, and girls started to notice guys, and guys started to flirt with the girls. So I remember in 4th grade, we got a new student, and he was like the big shot hottie, 4th grade hottie that every girl just thought was so cute and wanted to date. And for some strange reason, like he really took a liking to making fun of me and teasing me. And so in the 4th grade, you guys, I had like really dry lips. And I know you guys are like sitting here like, what the fuck does this have to do with anything? But I had really dry lips, and that caused me to lick them a lot. And when you do that, sometimes it causes like this rim around your lips, like of irritation. And so I licked my lips so much that I got that rim, and it kind of darkened, and so it kind of looked like a mustache. Well, of course, Mr. Big Shot caught wind to that, and so he goes around and tells all the guys in my class that I have a mustache. So I remember one day I was outside in recess, and all the guys come up to me, and they're pointing, and they're laughing at me, and they're like, haha, Gabby has a mustache, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I'm super embarrassed because this is all my guy friends, all the guys I've grown up with. And they're all making fun of me, they're all laughing at me, and of course I try to explain to them that it's not a mustache, like there's actually no physical hairs growing out of it. And to them it sounds just like bullshit, they don't believe me, and so that was like super embarrassing for me. And then I remember that he started going around calling me No Boob Gabby, and I'm just thinking like, this is so strange because I'm only 9 years old. Like, how much freaking tit do you expect me to have at 9 years old, Like, and I'm also looking around like none of my other classmates, none of the other girls have boobs. So like, why are you just like solely picking on my flat chest? Like, it was so weird, and it was just so embarrassing because like I said, he was like the most popular guy in school, so everyone was following him and his opinions. And so when he made fun of me, all the guys made fun of me. So this kind of teasing continued on until around the 6th grade. Then it, started to get worse. So up until the 6th grade, I was actually the only African American, well, if not the only, probably one of few African American students in my school. And so when we switched schools, because our elementary school only went K through 5, so when we switched schools for the 6th grade, there were other African American girls there, and I was actually really excited because I thought it would be a great chance for me to connect with other girls that, looked like me, had the same like hair texture as me, it was just like that, that understanding and that connection that I thought I was going to find, and I didn't. Honestly, they were really negative towards me. They were always laughing and teasing me. They were always talking about my hair or the clothes I wore. And they were already friends because they had already gone to that school together. And so they were already connected in a group. And they would just like huddle in a group. And when I would pass, they would laugh or, muddle words behind my back and talk shit. And honestly, I never really befriended any of those girls. And honestly, that's like one of the most disappointing things to me when I look back is like, how much negativity I got from girls from my own race. And then in the 6th grade, once again, all my friends were going off and hanging out with boys, and they had boyfriends, and of course I was once again just sitting there like a third wheel. And that went on all year. I never had a boyfriend, I never had a guy like me or anything like that. And then at the end of the year, there was this guy that I really, really liked. And he was like a really good friend of mine. And he was such a good friend that, my father would take him golfing. And like I knew his parents and he knew my parents. And we were really, really close. And so at the end of the year, he asked me out. He asked me to be his girlfriend. And I was so shocked, you guys. I was so surprised. I was so happy, obviously, because one, this was a guy that I really, really liked. And two, I'm like, oh my God, someone actually wants to be my boyfriend. Like, I can't believe it. I was so happy. Of course, I said yes. And that same day, a really nice classmate of mine, he came up to me and he said, Gabby, I want to be honest with you, and I just want to let you know that the group of guys bet so-and-so to ask you out, and he agreed to do it. And you guys, honestly, that was so sad for me for so many reasons. One, because the group of guys that had bet this guy to ask me out were like the guys I'd grown up with. They were like brothers to me. So it was kind of really disheartening to hear that they thought so negatively of my, overall physical appearance that they had to actually bet this guy to ask me out. And then, of course, I was upset to find out that, he didn't actually really like me, that he was doing it all for a bet. And, seriously, so much of my self-esteem was shattered at that point. It was just really, really sad. And I can't even remember what it was that they bet him. I think it was like $20. And I was just like, oh my gosh, just, going home and thinking like, wow. All of these guys think I'm so ugly that they have to actually bet someone to ask me out. It was just so embarrassing, and it was so sad. So that ended my 6th grade year. That happened at the end of 6th grade. And so in 7th grade, things hit an ultimate low. And I'm not gonna lie, I know I wasn't the most attractive girl. It doesn't excuse, the negativity and the teasing that I got from my, classmates at all. But I know I wasn't the most attractive. I know some people go through that awkward stage, where their head's too big for their body, or, they have to grow into their teeth. And that was definitely me. Like, I'm not gonna lie about it, that was definitely me. So I remember one day in the 7th grade, our teacher had split us up into groups to work on a project. And so I'm within my group, and we're just sitting, we're talking about pilgrims or some shit, I don't know. And, we're really into it, like we're discussing what we're gonna do for our project. And then one of the guys that was in my group, he stops me mid-sentence, and he goes, ugh. And I just wanna emphasize the ugh. I mean, the look on his face, the amount of disgust that was in that ugh, like he wanted to throw up. He was like, ugh, you're ugly. And he just looked right at me. He said it right in front of my group. He said it right in front of the class. And I remember that the people that were in my group specifically, they just stopped. And they kind of looked at me, but you could tell that they were almost like they were so embarrassed for me that they couldn't even look at me. And it was like the rest of the class did the same thing. So it was like I had like a million kind of side eyes on me, like, oh my God. Nobody really laughed or co-signed with him, but nobody really defended me either. And somehow I mustered up, I guess the strength, to not cry. And I honestly just pretended like he didn't say it. And I just went on and kept talking about the project. But in the back of my mind, the feeling from his words radiated in my heart the whole day. And so I just want to take this time out to say right now that people need to realize how important words are and the effect that words can have on someone's overall opinions of themselves, their self-worth. There's a saying that, people might forget what you say, they might forget what you do, but they're never going to forget how you made them feel. And, this happened to me more than a decade ago, and I can still remember the feeling that I had that day, and I can still remember how for years, just this one little experience, affected me so much, affected my own opinion of myself. I went years thinking I was ugly and hideous and not worthy and so many other negative things from this experience. And that boy probably doesn't even remember saying it. And he will never know how much that affected my life. And that is why I just want to take the time out to say that it is so important to think before you speak, because bullying, it kills. Sometimes people, they die from the physical attacks of bullying, and sometimes people die emotionally from the impact of bullying. And I just want to, point that out. But either way, I, pretended like nothing happened, and then that night I went home and I bawled my eyes out. And I remember while my parents slept, I wrote them a note. And I wrote them a note basically telling them what happened, and I begged them in my letter to please not let me go to school anymore. Like, please don't make me go to school. I don't want to. The kids are mean to me. They pick on me. They laugh at me. And I signed it. This is a little dramatic, but I signed it, "Your ugly duckling." So I put it under my parents' door, and the next day they read it, and so they called me in and had a discussion with me. And I remember specifically my father, who has been always, my biggest supporter, and I'm such a daddy's girl. He said something to me that day that stuck with me, and it kind of forever changed my life. And he said to me, "Gabby, you're going to go back to school and you're going to face this and you're going to be strong about it." And he told me, he said, "Gabby, beauty is in the eye of the beholder." And then it was at that point that I realized what he was saying, Even though that guy was a complete dickhead for the way that he said it and how he went about it, he didn't have to find me attractive. And I realized at that point that not everyone is going to find me attractive. And that's okay. And that just because so-and-so doesn't find me attractive doesn't mean I'm not beautiful. And it doesn't mean that I'm not worth it. It doesn't mean that I'm ugly. It's a preference, and everyone's entitled to it. And honestly, the teasing and the bullying, it went on until like my junior year of high school. I remember in my freshman year of high school, a group of girls, they would constantly make fun of me. They made fun of my hair, they made fun of my clothes. And I remember one girl, she actually tried to beat me up. She came up to me, she put her fist in my face, but there were other people around, and so they stopped her. I really don't even know to this day why she hated me so much and why she wanted to beat me up. I had never even spoken a word to her. And so it was just really crazy that I had to deal with so much constant negativity in my, school years. I mean, like I said, it wasn't until around 11th grade that kind of just stopped. But that was my experience, you guys, with bullying. There was a lot of teasing and a lot of damage to my self-confidence. And I just wanted to share this because, it wasn't so much a physical attack, but the emotional impact that had on me and my life and what I felt my worth was so devastating. And so, like I said, I just kind of wanted to share my story so that others can really realize that words hurt. They hurt really bad. Just as much as the punch, words pack a powerful punch as well. So please just always remember to think before you speak and realize that you potentially have the opportunity to ruin someone's life. And just always keep that in mind. The world is full with so much negativity. Just realize that your words can be so powerful that you can bring positivity and a smile to someone's life, and that's better than anything that you can do. So you guys, I want to thank you so much for watching, and as always, make sure that you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!